Hi, it's Ian with Dam Beaver Trapping Supplies. Spring is in the air and guys are wanting to get out there and shoot a bear, or in some places they could snare bears. Here in Saskatchewan, we're allowed to use a foot snare to legally take bears in spring and in fall. So today I'm going to show you how to set up a pail make the pail set for a bear snare and how easy it is. So hang on and I'll show you how. So the model we're going to use is the M15 Bear Snare. It comes with instructions, snare, and the thrower. There's another type of pail snare, and I'll show you that in a bit here. But this is the one we're going to show you how to make the pail set for. So I've taken a 5-gallon pail, just a plastic one with a nice hard lid on it. Just spray painted it up a bit to camouflage it a bit. And what we're going to do is cut the hole open on this to insert our snare. Now with the snare, the M15 snare, it comes with instructions. So you're going to get a sheet like this on there that has the pattern to cut it all out. So get your scissors and cut it all out. Got it all done. So what I'd like to do is place this over the pail and have it that the where the fill for the pail is right there. Just makes it a little easier. I'll show you. You'll see in a bit. So get it lined up where you want it. Get your marker out and trace around the whole thing, the circle that you just cut out. There you go. Once you got your circle drawn out, I take this off. That's where my hole is. Saves me drilling a hole. And cut it with the reciprocating saw. Quick and easy. Now that you have it cut out, you need a couple notches that you want to cut out for your tabs for your bear snare to hold in place. Just use your side cutters, and they can be fairly deep, like almost an inch deep. And these tabs are going to hold your snare in place in that nice circle. So there you have that part. Now you need a little notch cut out over in this area for the thrower to sit in. So we'll do that now. There you have it, circle cut out, little notches for your snare, and a notch for the thrower. Now since you still got your power tools out, something I like to do is, this is going to be the top of it, so the bottom at the back, drill a hole or two. Now with those holes at the bottom of the pail, when you go pick up the snare later on at the end of the season, it could still have some bait in there and it's probably going to be rotten, maggots, water maybe leaked in there. This way all that liquid is going to leak out of the pail and you're not going to have to fight with it as much. Get some of that stink away and you don't have to take it home with you in the back of the truck. So now when you get your M15, it's going to be looking like this. Instructions say, take this trigger, bend it over those ones, and around. Now it's in the right position. They just do that for shipping. So now you take that part, the trigger goes inside the paddle, and this lever and the other part goes right in the groove. So now you have it. The snare sits on the outside of the pail, and that holder and then the trigger is on the inside. Very simple. So you just want it basically that the trigger is in this groove and it's free to move. And when you set it, it's like a mini ram or a ram power snare. That's how it operates. So with it set up like this, I don't know if you can see the right way, keep it at an angle against the tree or away from the tree. So here's the tree on this side. You want it angled a bit that way. Not much, but just enough. That way if the bear's standing above it, when this thing fires, it doesn't hit him in the chin and might throw a snare off or anything like that. So that's why you want a bit of an angle. And what I do is I just take a piece of wood, say a 1x4 piece of wood, say 6 inches long, drill it to the side, inside the pail, drill it to the tree, and let it hang onto the tree that way. Quick and simple. If the bear pulls it off the tree, there's hardly any damage to the pail. So now to put the snare on, these tabs you had cut out before, all you do is stick the snare under these tabs. That's why it's nice to make them about 1 inch longer. So 4 is better than 3 even. Get them tucked in there, right around. Get it into place. You can move it around a bit. Now that top part of the snare, show you a little better here. Sits on that part right here. Now it's hanging off that with one of those loops, and that's what holds the snare when it throws it open. Now the bear sticks his paw in there, when he pulls the trigger, the snare opens up. Now you need a tie down cable for the bear, from the snare to the tree. So these are a 3/16 cable, heavy duty quick links. These are like 1,800 pounds breaking strength or something like that. They fit nicely into that end of the loop or the swivel, and then tighten it up around the tree. Make sure it's really tight, these things. They will come loose on you, and you don't want the bear getting away. Now another tie down is needed for the spring itself. Put a loop through here and around the tree. You could just use a 3/32 cable or 5/64, something lighter. And that is just when the bear does throw it, this part will be left either in the pail or get thrown off the pail. I've had bears walk away with them. Other bears come by and walk away with them, drag them away. You don't find them. The last bear I snared, I couldn't find a thrower for the longest time. And after I realized it, when I dragged the bear to the truck, this thrower was underneath the bear. So I wasted time looking for this thrower. So tie it to the tree and you'll find it. So just remember, your tie down cables, keep them shorter. You don't want that bear having a long tie down from the tree. If you 20 feet or something like that, he climbs on top of the tree or the top of the tree. When you shoot him, he's going to stay up there. You're going to end up cutting that tree down. So keep it short. Keep this, when you screw it to the tree, basically 5 feet kind of thing. It's going to be eye level with you, or depends how tall you are. But you don't want it overly high, because then the smaller bears won't get in there. You don't want the real small bears getting in there, like the cubs. So that's why you got to keep it higher off the ground. The cubs could maybe reach it. They're going to end up pulling it down, but at least they aren't going to get stuck in it. You don't want the good size average bears not reaching it, because then they'll pull on this when they're reaching. with one paw and rip it off the tree. So you kind of got to judge it. Even put a trail camera up first and see how big your bears are coming around. Another thing that I did do the last few years was pre-baiting them. I set up the pail on the tree without the snare though, or the thrower at all, nothing, just the pail. I threw bait in, they would reach in. That's when I was judging the size of the bears and stuff. So I had my trail camera set up. Threw the bait in, they'd reach in, pull it out, eat it. They got used to it after a couple weeks. I saw which size bears are coming. I had a medium and a large. The medium would end up ripping the pail down because he couldn't reach it quite well. The large had no trouble. So I moved it down a bit and then I was able to get both bears actually. But this pail here, the lid is attached to the pail really hard. Like it's very hard to get off myself. So that's why I cut it with the pail on. He's going to rip the whole pail down all the time. So that's why you want to keep it the proper height so you don't lose that bear by him ripping the pail down all the time. So after I had it pre-baited for almost 2 weeks, I set the snare in. Next day I had him. So just a little trick. Now this is the other bear snare we have that goes on a tree. It's all set up for you, pail and all, thrower. Comes with the bracket that goes on the tree, but they are a little more money. This one sells for $135. The one I showed you only sells for $55. So if you don't have the time to make a pail set, pick up one of these. For the guys that want to snare bear using a ground set, this one goes on the ground. Same principle, snares in there. When the bear steps on the pan, the snare goes around his leg. Good for trail sets, but you got to watch because you might catch the odd moose. So if you're in an area where there's no other pressure, just bears, that works great too. They also come in a cheaper version. It doesn't have the fancy cage around it, that kind of thing, and it's a lot cheaper too. So if you go on the website, you'll see the different bear foot snares we have. So there's the trigger of the bear snare. The only way for it to work is for the bear to pull it. And for him to pull it, he has to be interested in coming there. So you got to bait that pail and that trigger with something that they want. I'll normally use a pound of bacon or half a pound of bacon in the back of the trigger. But what I'll do for the trigger is wire a rag to it and have it soaked in either caramel or Beaver X, Castor X. Canadian beaver is a good one. Nice smell of the beaver. Bear Tease works great. Dam Beaver. And then all your standards, your caramel essence, salmon oils, and anise oil. They all work great. But bait that trigger. Wrap a rag around it. Tie it up nice and tight that when he pulls that rag, it'll throw the trigger off. And your bear will be hanging on the wall. So that's basically how it's done. That's how I set my pail up. I'll just hang it in the tree after. Simple as that. Hope you enjoyed the video. Just remember to check your local laws, because not all places and provinces are allowed to use these bear snares. As trappers in Saskatchewan, we could take as many bears as we want during the seasons and in the zones that we're allowed to. Basically because they're nuisance bears. We have too many of them in areas, and that's why they set up these laws for us. So respect the laws and follow what your guide and your conservation officers tell you. Thank you.